Vinny Stubbs Podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Please click the subscribe button on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, Lions victorious over the Miami Dolphins, 32-21. The Lions did everything that they were supposed to do. And they dominated on both sides of the... you had to cover Amendola. You did that. And you exposed Brock Osweiler for who he really is, and that's Brock Osweiler. $22 for 31, 239 and 2 touchdowns. Stafford, 18 for 22, 217 and 2 TDs. I mean, guys, when Stafford has a running game, he's a top 5 quarterback. I mean, we've been waiting 9 years for this guy to finally have a running game. I mean, we've been waiting longer than 9 years to have a running game. But since we've had Stafford, we've waited 9 years. And they finally have one. Finally. Kerryon Johnson had over 100 yards rushing before the first half was over. I love it. This is what NFC football is about. And you're starting to discover this. It's a great feeling. 19 carries, 158 yards. Outstanding. I said before the game, you have to utilize your tight ends. You have to get some kind of chemistry built with these guys. I mean, all 4 tight ends combined the first 5 games had 74 yards. Michael Roberts, 48 yards, 3 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. You can't complain. Sorry about the podcast delay, guys. I'm in Virginia working. I mean, I don't have much time to do these podcasts, so you have to bear with me until December. I'll do as many as I can. And we'll see where we go from there. I mean, hey, listen. The Lions are doing much better than I thought. I mean, they started off 0-2. I mean, who would have saw this coming? Hey, you're 0-2. You're playing the Patriots, and you're playing the Packers. Right? It could have got ugly. And, they are 3-3. I mean, this is where they've been the last 3 years. Still not good enough. That Jets game screwed everything up. Just think about it. If they would have beat the Jets, they'd be 4-2. And they should have beat the Jets. The Jets are horrible. I mean, I'm impressed. There's nothing to complain about. Tannehill was out. So you had that. I mean, you were supposed to win this game. You were favored by 3 on the road. I can't remember the last time you guys were favored by 3 on the road. You did what you were supposed to do. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Decker and Wagner, they had to block well against Wake, who was questionable, and Quinn. I mean, you guys did so. I don't know how the hell the Dolphins had a winning record. I'm looking at their roster. I mean, this team is terrible. They're ranked number 31 by Bleacher Report. So you're supposed to take care of business against teams like this. But hey, now it's on to play the Seahawks. If you guys can beat the Seahawks, you'll be 4-3. I would take this season one game at a time. Don't get your hopes up. I got to do these podcasts, man. Being in Virginia is so stressful. I'm sitting here by myself in the middle of nowhere doing a podcast. I hope you guys appreciate it. Gore went 15 for 101. The Sunday previous, he was 62 for 303 with a 4.8 yards on average. You didn't even see Gore. You seen Drake. He got 72 yards rushing. Outstanding. Lions. Traded a 5th-round draft pick in 2019 to the New York Giants for defensive tackle Damon Harrison. He's 29 years old. And he has 5.5 sacks for his career. This year he has 31 tackles and 16 assists. No sacks, no interceptions. He has 1 career interception. Hey, guys, look, it's a need. It's a need. We easily have one of the worst defensive lines in the league, and this is going to help. Impressive. So, take it one game at a time. We added a piece. Agnew's out for the year. That sucks. But just take it one game at a time. Seattle is nothing. They're in rebuild mode, and they're 500. They're in the same position we are, but we're on the upswing, and they're on the downswing. You have to win that game. You're at home. There's no reason why you shouldn't win the game. We won 3 out of our last 4. Win this game. You'll be 4-3, and then we can talk. 4-3, and then we play the Minnesota Vikings, who I think we can beat. So, Seahawks, Vikings, Bears. If we go 2-3, we'll be 5-4. It's impressive. Look. The Giants are in rebuild mode. You needed a defensive tackle. I mean, we need a defensive end as well, but I'll take the defensive tackle. Good stuff. Impressive. There's nothing. I have absolutely nothing to complain. Like, if they would have beat the Jets, what would we be talking about right now? We'd be 4-2, playing a 500 Seattle team at home, going 5-2. That Jets game screwed everything up. Follow Vinny Stubbs podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. When we come back, we'll break down some of the big name players on Seattle and what you need to do to shut those guys down. Vinny Stubbs podcast. Vinny Stubbs podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Seattle Seahawks 3-3 traveling to Ford Field to take on the 3-3 Lions. So I took a look at their depth chart for you guys, and I see a team with an average offense with no running game and an average defense with little depth. So, team is definitely on the downslide. And you're on the upswing, and you're at home. You should definitely take care of business against this team. You could shut down Chris Carson, who's the running back. You added Harrison as your defensive tackle to play alongside Ashawn Robinson, Hand, and hopefully Ziggy Ansah is healthy enough to play, which I don't think he is. I just don't think that guy's ever going to play again. So, defensive line looks impressive. Shut down this running game. I mean, they really don't have one. Chris Carson, you could shut this down. You're really just going to have to contain Russell Wilson. He makes a lot of things happen out of the pocket. So, I would focus on containing Russell Wilson. He really only has one weapon in Doug Baldwin. They have a pretty good offensive line. So, contain Russell Wilson. And as far as the defense goes, they have Barkevius Mingo, who really didn't do anything in Cleveland. I don't know how he's doing in Seattle. Middle linebacker Bobby Wagner is outstanding. So is KJ Wright. And Griffin. Trey Flowers. So, Flowers, Griffin, Wright, Wagner, Mingo. Wow, that's pretty good. The rest of these guys, I don't know who they are. Quentin Jefferson, Jerron Reed, Shamar Stephan, Frank Clark, Bradley McDougald, and Tedrick Thompson. I don't know much about those guys. So their defensive line looks to be the weakest. So, establish a running game against this defense early. And you have one. So, I would contain Russell Wilson. Shut down Baldwin. and get off to a fast start running the ball like you did against Miami. And hey, listen, you're at home. I think you can do these things. The team's looking great, guys. Hey, listen, I'm in Virginia. I got to get to work. These podcasts are going to be really short until I get back to Detroit. I mean, I'm going to be here till the first week of December, so bear with me. I know it's probably a little atrocious. So I thank you guys for listening. I'll do a podcast before the Seattle Seahawks game, and we'll cover more on this team. Bing predicts the Lions to win by 3, and that's all I got for you. So, listen, take it one game at a time. You take it one game at a time, the sky's the limit, guys. 3-3, let's get to 4-3. When we get to 4-3, we'll talk about 5-3. Minnesota, is not the greatest team on the planet. They have a really good defense, but Kirk Cousins, let's face it, when he's playing teams that are good, he sucks. Are we good? We'll find out. Follow Vinny Stubbs Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and do not be shy to click that subscribe button on YouTube. I need it. Once again, I apologize for the delay on the podcast. I am out in Virginia, and I'm going to be in France in January to April. So if we're in the playoffs, it's going to be tough. Remember, guys, one game at a time, and let's take care of business against Seattle. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I will be here before the game to break down Seattle and Detroit. Thank you for listening, Vinny Stubbs Podcast.